Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys predicted to land former 37 TD QB, aggressive passer. The Dallas Cowboys could be an ideal landing for an aggressive passer at quarterback. As projected by CBS Sports' Chris Trapasso in his 7-round mock draft, the Cowboys are predicted to select Tulane University's Michael Pratt with the 87th overall pick in the 3rd round. Pratt is a 22-year-old who spent all 4 years with the Green Wave, having a highly prolific career as a dual-threat quarterback. The 6'3" quarterback threw for 27 touchdown passes in addition to 10 rushing touchdowns during the 2022 season alone. During his collegiate career, Pratt racked up 90 touchdown passes to go along with 28 rushing touchdowns. While Pratt isn't an overly fast quarterback, he chose not to run the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. He can finish runs, as evidenced by his knack for getting into the end zone through rushing the football. As Bleacher Report's Derek Klassen describes in his scouting report of Pratt, he is an aggressive passer who has the ability to finish off runs as a red zone threat or short yardage runner. That mentality extends to Pratt's risk tolerance, writes Klassen. He is an aggressive passer. Pratt always looks for angles to throw down the field if the pre-snap look from the defense allows for it. Pratt is a somewhat functional athlete as well. He isn't quick or fast, but there is a degree of power and balance to Pratt's game that serves him well as a designed runner in short yardage situations or in the red zone. While Trapasso projects Pratt to be selected in the 3rd round, Klassen predicts the Tulane alum to be picked in the 5th round as a high-level developmental prospect. He also compares Pratt to longtime Cowboys backup quarterback Cooper Rush. Rush landed with the Cowboys as an undrafted free agent in 2017 out of Central Michigan, a non-Power 5 school, similar to Tulane, and has been with the team ever since as a backup. Rush has started 6 games in his career, going 5-1 in the process. As Maurice Moton of Bleacher Report writes in his own scouting report of Pratt, he compensates for his lack of elite arm strength with catchable passes. He also mentions Pratt as a potential replacement for Dak Prescott, considering the franchise quarterback is entering the last year of his contract in Dallas. The 22-year-old makes up for his lack of arm strength with great touch and ball placement, writes Moton. In most cases, he throws a catchable ball, giving his pass catchers a chance to make plays after receptions. While the Cowboys remain adamant that they plan on re-signing Prescott, the fact that he's still without a contract extension leaves the door open that this could be his final season in Dallas. When you factor in that the Cowboys have yet to advance past the divisional round during Prescott's 8 years as starter, it may be time to move in a different direction. ESPN's Adam Schefter actually recently labeled the Cowboys as a sleeper team to draft a quarterback. If the Cowboys don't want to create a quarterback controversy, while also adding an insurance plan for Prescott, they could select a passer like Pratt with a mid-round pick, rather than going for a Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix in the 1st round. How Jaron Kearse's past could help extend his future in Dallas. Safety Jaron Kearse is one of the few Cowboys free agents still left on the open market. The longer he goes unsigned, the chances he might re-up with Dallas increase. One factor that might help get Kearse back with the team is that he still has a potential advocate in Mike Zimmer, who was his first NFL head coach with the Vikings. It's no surprise that Kearse has yet to get a new contract from Dallas. They're well stocked at safety with starters Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson, plus exciting young backups in Marquise Bell and Wanya Thomas. If they even keep a 5th guy, it would probably be someone who can double as a cornerback like Israel Mukuamu. Kearse turned 30 in February and was already looking a step slower last year. He's been an incredible find for Dallas, going from an off-season afterthought in 2021 to being one of the defensive leaders for 3 seasons. But after getting a late start to becoming an impact player, Kearse is unfortunately slowing down just as his career started heating up. Still, the longer he remains a free agent, Kearse's asking price is likely dropping. It's possible that a coach familiar with his work in Dallas, like Dan Quinn in Washington or Aiden Durd in Seattle, might be waiting until after the draft to see if they have a need for him. But the Cowboys also could offer him a chance to return at that point, if nothing else to compete with younger guys and provide some injury insurance. While Kurse has lost some advocates with departing coaches from last year, did he get a new one in Mike Zimmer? When Kurse was a 7th-round pick for the Vikings in 2016, Zimmer was their head coach. Kurse played 4 seasons for Minnesota, all under Zimmer, but only in backup and special teams roles. He didn't blossom as a player until hooking up with Quinn in Dallas. We know that Zimmer has a voice in the Cowboys front office, no doubt influencing the signing of veteran LB Eric Kendricks. But while Kendricks was a star for Zimmer and fills a much-needed spot on Dallas' roster, Kurse was a depth guy in Minnesota and the Cowboys may not have room for him now. Kurse's role under Quinn as a hybrid linebacker on passing downs is unlikely to transition to Zimmer's scheme. But at the very least, Zimmer was the coach who brought Kurse into the NFL. For a 7th-round pick to see all 4 years of his rookie contract is no small accomplishment. Some don't ever even make a roster. If Zimmer still has a fondness for Kurse, maybe he'd find a way to use him at the right price. It takes 2 to tango. Maybe Jaron Kurse doesn't want to return to Dallas only to be Donovan Wilson's backup. Maybe he's already turned down a contract offer from the Cowboys, hoping for more money or opportunity elsewhere. But if Kurse's unemployment continues, who knows what might happen? Dan Quinn might be gone, but Kurse was a Mike Zimmer guy before he ever got to Dallas. Dallas Cowboys host 30 visit with draft target Jackson Powers Johnson, trade back and pick? For as long as it became clear that center Tyler Biadasz' future with the Dallas Cowboys was in doubt, Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson has frequently been mocked as a replacement. However, a lackluster free agency has thrown the Dallas roster into a state of unsteadiness. Replacing left tackle Tyron Smith likely takes priority over the center position, and no moves to address receiver Michael Gallup's departure or 2 edge rushers heading to the Washington Commanders have been made. Each need is underlined by the maybe threat of having to replace quarterback Dak Prescott next season. Subsequently, the Cowboys have several options available to them at number 24, from another first-round lineman to a dynamic threat on the boundary. The consensus has largely pegged the top tackle remaining to America's team, but Powers Johnson certainly isn't out of the running. Unsurprisingly, Dallas has already held a visit with Powers Johnson. Per reports, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Bears, Carolina Panthers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers have, too. It's worth noting that the Oregon product's hype has been driven more from non-sourced media than analysts known to have a thumb on the pulse of decision-makers. That isn't to disparage the draftniks that have granted him round 1 grades. He was impressive this past season, but to some, a slide to round 2 wouldn't be surprising. Powers Johnson's critics will point to poor knee bend that saps him of power and a lack of athletic testing that could have eased some concerns. Additionally, Oregon's offense was designed to get the ball out quick, leaving some wondering how much he was truly asked to do in pass protection. Given how the league seems to view him, he may be a priority for the Cowboys if they trade back from number 24. Despite his flaws, Powers Johnson was Pro Football Focus highest-graded center from this past season and allowed just a single pressure. He was a single-year starter, but it's hard to have a more promising campaign than he produced. Powers Johnson won the Remington Trophy for his efforts as the best center in the country. For now, fans can consider the top 30 visit an act of due diligence. As a legitimate candidate for one of the team's first 2 picks, and one of the best players at his position, the Cowboys were always going to give him an extended look. There are legitimate concerns in his profile, but depending on how the board shakes out, Powers Johnson could be the best player available. He projects as a day 1 starter, and with the state of Dallas line, that could give him an advantage over offensive linemen viewed as projects with massive upside. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Jackson Powers Johnson? Leave your opinion in the comments.